Law enforcement's reminding drivers to be wary and to stop around school buses, especially in multi-lane streets. Blue Earth County Sheriff's Office reports multiple infractions every week, and the city of Eagle Lake reports a higher than average number of problems, especially in their larger streets. Vehicles going in both directions must stop when the stop arm on a school bus is out. The only exception's on divided roads. That division has to be physically marked with a concrete dividend or raised or lowered area. Empty turn lanes do not count as a divider. Sheriff's Office says bus stop laws are some of the most forgotten and some of the most important ones on the books.
It's just not worth it. There's some pretty tragic events. If you look online, there's some pretty sad stories about kids perishing in pretty horrific accidents and crashes that happen because people are in a hurry and they try to go around the school bus.
Not stopping for a school bus is a misdemeanor and is upgraded to a gross misdemeanor if there are kids around the bus. Police say that almost all buses now have cameras, so any incidents are caught and recorded.